Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hello and welcome to the Dork Forest. I'm Jackie Cation. I am your host of the Dork Forest. You probably know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com. We're all over iTunes and whoever has downloaded it and repurposed it for whatever your needs. That's right. So feel free to review the show on iTunes. Feel free to email me, Jackie@JackieCation.com, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns. Anyway, let's do the credits. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song you just heard. He sang it with his wife, Sarah. He'll sing again his words to the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Patrick Brady is going to fix this audio, and Vilmos does my website. Okay. There are many ways to support the show. Let's talk about them. The easiest way is just to tell other people about the show and follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat @JackieCation and tell people word of mouth. Another way to support the show financially, doesn't cost you anything, is the Amazon banner. On JackieCation.com, there's an Amazon banner under Support the Show. And on DorkForest.com, there's just an Amazon link that takes you to Amazon. And both take you to Amazon, you order like normal, and the show gets a little bit of a kickback. Doesn't cost you extra. It's just a way, if you order from Amazon, to help the show. More direct way of helping the show, you can give money to the show via PayPal. There's a PayPal button under the Support the Show page on JackieCation.com, and there's a PayPal button on DorkForest.com. You can donate directly. If you want to give monthly, I haven't made that easy. I don't have a monthly setup. I know that it's easy. I just don't have any time to do it. So you have to remember every month that you like the show and then give me money. So I'll use it wisely on audio cables and chocolate, whatever. Another way to support the show, if you don't like PayPal, is people have been Venmoing me money. I'll take it. That seems lovely. Jackie@JackieCation.com. It's just under Jackie Cation. So whatever. If you have listened to all 600 and whatever episodes of the Dork Forest and would like more Dork Forest, there are premium episodes, probably a dozen of them. And they are, in the last couple of years, if I do a live episode, it usually costs me some money. So I have been putting them up on Bandcamp, and they cost money. They cost $2 a pop. But if you go to thedorkforest.bandcamp.com, you can see those different shows. They're usually live episodes around the world. And there is also four stories on a sort of a handmade storytelling album that I made over there too. And those are just $1 each. So if you want to go to Bandcamp, you can do that as well. You can order merch on JackieCation.com. There are shirts and CDs and a DVD of my stand-up. There's the stand-up CDs, Circus People, It's Never Gonna Be Bread, This'll Make an Excellent Horcrux, and my brand new album, I Am Not the Hero of This Story. And they're all available as CDs on JackieCation.com. They're all available digitally on Amazon and iTunes, and you can just listen to them on Pandora and Spotify and whatever. So, but if you like hard copies, let me know if you want them signed or not. There's also a DVD of the Horcrux album, which is video. That's what a DVD is. And you can download that at comedyfilmnerds.com if you just like a download. Okay, there are shirts. There's my stand-up shirt, Spooky Reading Girl. There's also 2 Dork Forest t-shirts. So there's the Ranger of the Dork Forest t-shirt, and there is a Dork Forest logo shirt. And all the shirts are made in the United States, union made, so they run a little big because they're made by Americans. Other than that, my stand-up is available on the website, on JackieCation.com. You can watch my Conan sets. You can watch a bunch of different stand-up sets. You can, and then you can see what my schedule's like. Enough of this. Let's get into the show. It's a really good one. Hey, it's Jackie Cation. I'm in my living room. I'm with Kyle Clark, you guys. You guys might know Kyle Clark from the Jackie and Laurie Show and from stand-up comedy, and from your Twitter feed is at Kyle Clark is Rad.
Yes.
You have your own podcast, This Is Rad.
I do.
Yes. And Kyle Clark, a stand-up comic, you have an album.
I do.
A stand-up comedy album called I'm a Person.
That is what it's called.
That is what it's called. And now you're on the Dork Forest.
I am. It's exciting to be here. As somebody whose podcast started off, the pitch for it was basically we're ripping off the Dork Forest. It's very exciting to be here.
Oh, this is Red is not that. It's got like 5 people, and you guys you guys all dork out.
Well, it's about enthusiasm, and it's about thinking things are good instead of shitting on things.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough.
And as far as I can tell, we are the 2 podcasts that do that.
Obsessed. Joseph Scrimshaw.
That's true. Oh, I do like his show too a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's and he was so funny because that's what he pitched it as. He said, it's kind of like yours, and I'm like, enthusiasm. I didn't trademark.
I've come to find out that you paved the way for a whole subgenre. If this were the Netflix of podcasts, there would be Dork Forest.
There should be a
acolytes.
Dork Forest channel.
Yeah.
A Dork Forest channel, and not a real channel, because that sounds like a lot of work. It could be just like a Dork Forest, and then like I could have a page on some non-existent dorkforest.com that was a list of podcasts that are just like the Dork Forest.
It's
super positive, super fun. Let's listen to what people like. And so, but what you like,
I do,
because it is September 24th, and it has begun. Is Halloween.
Yes.
So we're gonna.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best time of the year.
The best time of the year? Did you trick or treat as a child?
I did. I trick or treated until I was in 6th grade, and my parents
11.
then made me stop trick or treating. Other kids who continued. I was already 6'1" by then.
Oh yeah.
So they were like, "Hey, you got to knock it off. You look like a thug teen, even though you're 11."
Even though you were 6'1" when you were 11.
Yeah.
Man,
my body's a nightmare place.
That is
I'm
really,
6'6" now. For those listeners who don't know,
right? Who don't know and have to know that there's just
there's just a lot of fun stuff when you're a giant person that has to stop much earlier than it's supposed to.
Right, and then you do stand up.
Yeah,
because there were issues.
It's stand up is just each person going, "Hey, here's the thing that went wrong for me."
Right. I was 17 and I couldn't stop having acne for a decade. And so people were ridiculous and I fixed it and now I'm better and I'm better looking than I ever was. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't horrible for those 5 years. Oh. So you trick-or-treated and then did you hand out?
I did a little bit.
And did you always dress up?
Yes. I was,
okay.
And now what's weird, not the biggest dresser upper.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like me and Halloween have had this strange run. I've always loved it. Didn't dress up in middle school and then did for chunks of high school just because I was like, look at me, I desperately crave your attention. And then college didn't really, but over the years it's kind of just become this thing. Like I like the fall. It's my favorite season as far as like weather and stuff goes. I love a sweater.
Sure.
I love like a hot appley spicy beverage. Like
right, the pumpkin, the latte.
Don't do pumpkin stuff either though. So I'm this weird walking contradiction.
Oh, you
of
like
things.
Apples, not pumpkins?
Yeah, I'll go apples over pumpkin just about every time.
Okay.
And I've always have a real issue with pumpkin pie being the front runner of all pies because I feel like it's a little weaker on the pie front. We're shooting ourselves in the foot, and that's why big cake's always taken over.
Big cake, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
Oh, I'm here mostly to spread awareness for the cruel spread of big cake.
Right. I will say I like pie better than cake. Yeah. I like ice cream better than both of them.
Oh, I mean ice cream. I don't even know why we bother with other desserts. We hit the top.
Yeah.
And I guess we just keep handing out also ran medals to other desserts
because it melts, and you can have pie cold. You can have it hot.
Yeah,
I get it. And
sure.
I like a fruit pie. I used to only like pumpkin pie.
Oh.
I never liked other pie. Then I realized, much like pancakes, it was because Nancy Cation couldn't make a pie to save her damn life.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, and having a bad pie will really like ruin things.
It'll put you off.
Like
pie.
a bad apple pie, and you're just like, oh, I guess there's just nothing good in the world.
Yeah,
and you finally have one done well, and you're like, oh, okay.
And a pumpkin pie, if you buy a pie shell and you buy that pumpkin filling, and it's pumpkin pie filling. Yeah. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to do anything. And then that's Nancy Cation cooking.
That was easy cooking in the 70s.
Right. And so it worked out. And then that was the kind of pie that I was like, well, then that's what pie should be. It at least should feel like it's done.
There's no retro person who turns and goes, you know what I miss is old pie filling.
Old pie filling or uncooked pie filling or to overcooked. Ooh. So, but now... when it comes to pie, over a pumpkin pie, I will go cherry pie.
Yeah,
I will
solid call.
Cherry pie, all berry pie, and then apple pie.
All
and then
solid.
So a lot of people are into some pudding pies.
I enjoy a pudding pie.
You like
quite
a pudding
bit.
pie, like a chocolate pudding pie?
I think a chocolate silk pie is one of the better things you can put in your mouth.
That's it.
Like-
I like pudding. It's the crust that makes me go, well, that's a waste of.
Yeah, I mean,
just give me some more
But
pudding.
now sometimes we're talking that crushed up Oreo crust though, and that's a great thing.
That is a pretty good
Because
thing.
then you got two kinds of chocolate coming at you.
That's true. Okay, so
Now, I love this. Here, watch this segue.
Okay.
I was thinking about pie because I just had a boysenberry pie because I had ordered it at Knott's Berry Farm last night when I
Knott's
went
Berry
to
Farm.
Knott's Scary Farm.
Knott's Scary Farm. Knott's Berry Farm is supposedly, when I moved here, it was the lame, like, knockoff of Six Flags.
Sorta, yeah.
And then I went and I was like, no, I like this a lot. It's mellower.
I love it.
It's a mix of like a county fair, like you can get ribs.
Yep.
It's not too expensive. Mm-hmm. And then they have like giant, like Superman-y kind of like.
Yeah, epic rides.
They have epic rides. They have lame rides, which I enjoy a lame ride. Like one of my favorite rides at Disneyland is that rocket thing.
Oh,
that's
it's a good
like
time.
Dumbo, but
Hey,
it's
it's a
like
fun-
a 50s rocket one where I'm like, I just want to sit in that rocket forever and have people take pictures of me in that rocket.
I like a fun photo op that moves.
Right, and then it's just a swing, and so it's fine. But Knott's Berry Farm also has like geodes and stuff.
Yes.
You can buy weird crystals, and it opens it up, and you're like, it could have the big.
It's the weirdest thing that it's this 49er minor themed park that
Yes.
also has theme park rides, but is also built around fried chicken and the boysenberry.
And the boysenberry. And so you had, did you get the fried chicken?
Of course I did. It's
Everybody was
amazing.
like, you have to try the fried chicken. And I love chicken with the power of the sun. Fried chicken, not my downfall.
Really?
Roast.
Oh.
Roasted chicken, baked chicken, rotisserie
You're such an
chicken,
adult.
and then fried chicken. Well, I don't like the breading.
Oh,
You know what
see.
I like? I like the chicken. I want to eat a
okay,
fucking
okay.
chicken, which is inside.
Are you a
all the
white
breading.
meat person too? Are
Nope.
we going to come to blows
No,
on this?
no,
okay,
dark meat.
Because dark
It's
meat's
all-
the way to go. And it only in the last few years has it occurred to me that I'm like, why are they always saying all white meat chicken? They're selling you the garbage part, and like it's a good thing.
Right, and I only make entire chickens, so I have to figure out a way to bake the white meat.
Turns into chicken salad.
No, it's not bad if you. I've actually perfected the cooking of a
Oh.
chicken, so I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really good at it. So you had fried chicken and
I did.
boysenberry pie
I
over
did.
it. See, and every year, starting when it had to have just started.
It started on Thursday. I went for the first Saturday. Jackie asked me how many parks I've already been to for their opening Halloween celebrations.
All
the ones that are open.
All the ones that are open.
Yes,
Is
so
it just
I
that
went
one?
to Halloween Horror Nights last week because for
Where?
their Universal Studios for their opening night, and then I did Not Scary Farm this week. I'm at Six Flags in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'll be doing the Haunted Hayride somewhere in that run. Oftentimes, I have the problem of I hit all of the Halloween haunts before October starts.
Okay.
And so then I'm having to scrap together and find weird side stuff.
Okay, you should invite. I was going to say us, but you should invite Andy. Because here's the thing. I went to Knott's Scary Farm once with Andy and friend of the show, Scott Rogers.
Ooh, that's a good time.
Who loves all things Disney and all things haunted house.
See, he's the man after my own heart.
30, 40 haunted houses at Knott's Scary Farm. The whole of the park done with that
With the spookies.
the fog. Some sort of crazy ass fog. And it was, I did 4 of the haunted houses, and I was like, no, they're ruining everything from my childhood. It was like, I was like, oh, you're going to fuck with dolls? I never even liked dolls, but you've ruined dolls. And then here's another, I mean, it was like, they're all themed.
Oh, yeah.
And they're kind of 45 different themes, and kind of mostly just 45 different knives.
They bounce back and forth. Yes, 45 different knives is a great way to describe every haunted attraction. I went last night.
Yeah.
Those are the big two: are Horror Nights at Universal and Not Scary Farm.
Okay.
They're both very popular. They're both very different.
Okay.
They are almost a Marvel and DC, to put them in terms for you.
Oh, fair enough. Universal.
Halloween Horror Nights is
Yeah.
very much Marvel. It's flashy. There's a lot of money being thrown around.
Okay.
They're very good, but sometimes the depth leaves a little bit lacking, even though they are pulling from some quality histories, and it's not to be ignored.
Okay, so what are they also haunted houses?
They also do haunted houses.
And what is
they
the
do
theme?
movie tie-ins largely.
Movies.
So like this year for them,
Frankenstein or something?
So they've done those in the past. There was actually a year I was really sad before I really got into going to the haunts, because this has only been the last few years. Because as a kid, I was terrified of these things. They would
Okay.
make me sob uncontrollably.
Yes, I have that inner child that's still working it.
Here, I'll sidestep for a little bit, give a little context. I am super into these. I've been into them for probably the last 7 or 8 years. It's really become a full-on obsession.
Okay.
So it's relatively young still.
2010.
Because as a child, I would go to these things with my parents. Like I would read Pirates of the Caribbean with my face buried in my mother's side, sobbing because I didn't like how intense and scary the pirates were.
Okay.
And around 9 or 10, I decided I got to toughen up, and so I was trying to like get into things. And instead, it went from being totally terrified of spooky things to that being like my favorite thing.
The only thing.
I love sci-fi. I love some fantasy stuff. I love superheroes. I love all the genre world things. Horror is number one without a doubt. Like I can
gore
talk
horror or
all
tension
of it,
horror?
literally all of it.
All of it.
To me, there's no such thing as bad horror unless it's boring, and even then, sometimes it's fun. I love when anything well done is great. If something's super gory and it's spectacular, you're dead alive. Like Dead Alive, Peter Jackson's movie from 1990 is one of the most amazing. And the last 20 minutes can only be described as gooey.
Oh, interesting.
I think that the first Saw movie is really well made. I think that, I love some of your more intense writers. Your Craig, Jonathan Skipp and people like that who write really splattery books. Because I think they're a lot of fun. But on the flip side, doesn't mean I also don't love your classy things. I love my old Universal monster movies. I'm a big fan of. I'm trying to think who else we can kind of throw into the classy run, but kind of all over the place. Like,
remember? Do you ever see the Dracula movie that was supposed to be funny?
Dracula Dead and Loving It?
No, that one was funny. That one was more of the Zorro the Gay Blade of Dracula movies.
Ooh.
I'm thinking of Nosferatu, I think.
Okay, yeah. The silent one?
Yeah. Yeah.
The original or the remake?
The remake.
The remake. That's
Buscemi? No.
Shadow of the Vampires.
Shadow of the Vampire.
That's it. Okay, with Willem Dafoe playing the vampire.
That's it. Yes.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
And I was up all night. Accidentally saw it.
You know what you would enjoy? Did you see What We Do in Shadows?
No.
Because it's played as a straight comedy. It's a mockumentary.
Okay.
Done by a bunch of people who worked on Flight of the Conchords. And it's about a bunch of vampires living in a small town in New Zealand. And it is howlingly funny.
Okay.
It is so well observed.
What We Do in Shadows?
In Shadows. Like, I would highly recommend it. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the better comedies in the last 10 years.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right.
And so, toughened myself up, started going to these park things, and I have very bad anxiety. Like any good comedian, I've got enough nervous tics to fill an album after album.
Interesting. And then you thought you'd pander to
So
those.
what happens, and I've talked about it with my therapist, and she was actually real impressed with what I did, is I have found that I get very anxious going through those things because I'm afraid of being startled, but I'm not even afraid of the startling, which is all it is when they jump out at you.
Right.
You're startled for a moment, and then you laugh.
Yeah.
It's going in, it's the fear of
anticipation?
walking across the border into the thing. Because once you're in, you're fine and you just have to deal. It's the anticipation of going in that would fill me with horrible anxiety. And I found that by going through those and moving past the anxiety and engaging in the thing, the worst that happens is I get startled and then all of a sudden I'm alive and I've walked through basically all the elements of a panic attack and come out the other end fine. So it's basically this weird immersion therapy for my anxiety disorder.
Face your fears.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in a fun way with a lot of great production design.
Right, really good production design.
And so,
a lot of good work being done with cobwebs.
Yeah, and so Universal's fun. They do movie tie-ins. This year they had one for the new Insidious movie coming out. They had Blumhouse, the production company, had one that had multiples of their movies all in one maze. They actually, this year was all about mashups because they also had one that was Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface all in one thing where you kind of went from movie to movie and they had kind of the greatest hit scenes from all their movies.
And they were literally you're walking
through a horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, one is a reproduction of a movie.
Of a scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And then the next room
Freddy Krueger's hanging out doing a thing. And then the next scene, Jason's around. And they'll kind of vary throughout going through.
Oh, okay. So
it's fun.
Yeah, it's kind of, super, I bet you, if you're a movie nerd, you're just like, oh my God, they grabbed that thing from that thing.
There's some head-exploding ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's more fascinating than anything else, the Universal ones.
It's the closest you get to getting onto the set of a thing or crawling inside of it,
Right.
And it's, it's just neat, especially, I love the Friday the 13th movies because they're just a hot mess. And they are so id-driven machines that just do their job, and I kind of love them for it. And so like getting to like walk into one of those and have like a big giant Jason guy, who it's always fun because they're always a little shorter than me, like walk in, and like there's almost this like I forget to get afraid in some of those ones because I'm like, hey, I know you.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's what I would think, that those would be more, especially if you've seen the movies.
Oh yeah,
like, and people watch those movies over and over and over again.
Oh, the coolest one.
Yeah,
they did an Alien versus Predator maze a few years ago.
Okay.
And one of the rooms you walk in, and there's an 18-foot tall queen alien from the James Cameron Alien movie.
Yeah.
And I was like taken aback because I just couldn't stop looking at it because it's this thing from this movie I've seen a billion times.
Right.
And I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it is literally one of the aliens that was trying to scare me.
Yeah.
Because this was supposed to distract you, and then this thing pops out. But I
Right.
was so enraptured that it was literally pointing to the door because I was holding up the line. And I was just politely shuffled off by a xenomorph. And it was funny because do you know Blair Butler?
Yes.
Her and I, because she's a big horror nut too, and
Right.
we were talking. She had gone through the same maze and had the same thing happen to her.
Oh,
so
really?
we were both reveling in the fact that we both like lost our nerd minds staring at this giant queen alien because it's like, oh, this is as close as I can get to you being real without me having a real problem.
Yeah, without it actually being the thing.
And if that comes, you don't want that. That's a bad call.
No, that'd be terrible. It's so those ones, the Universal ones, are movie ones.
Yeah.
And then, so do they have hay bales and like the Scarecrow
sure.
and
I mean,
Batman Arkham? And
I mean,
that'd be the truly scary
That'd be.
ones.
I keep waiting for one. I think like DC is always a little nervous, although they keep moving further and further towards like edgelord country, where I feel like we could get there. But
I don't even know what that means.
I just learned it recently, so I've been throwing it out randomly.
What's edgelord?
It's the kid in the fedora and the trench coat who loves Spawn.
Oh, weird.
And just extreme, cool, dark comics, and like Clive
right.
Barker gets it, and like
edgelord.
yeah. Oh, it's
right.
fun. It's I picked it up somewhere, and I was like, ooh, I'm full on stealing that term.
Fair enough.
But they like going through like those ones. It's a lot of fun, and I definitely think that like I bet DC would start doing that. It seems like they kind of wander more and more, but doing like a full Arkham Asylum where you're wandering through would be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it would be. I mean, genuinely scary.
Did you play the first Arkham Asylum video game?
People, we got it.
Yeah.
Watch people play it. Don't
all
have
those fun little nightmare modes. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is like truly horrific. Kind of walking through these parts.
Which is why DC and I have such a hard time together because I'm like, all of the bad guys are genuinely insane.
Yeah.
And they're terrifying to me. So.
That's I feel like it's weird. Now I feel like I'm a man without a country. But a few years ago, when I was really kind of done with Marvel doing nonstop events, somewhere between Dark Reign and Civil War 2, I was like, I think I'm off the boat. I think I'm all done.
Too many crossovers. I refuse to do any of them.
I won't do them. If you got a good single arc,
I'll catch up. You can tell me what happened. Captain America's possessed by a Nazi Red Skull? I'll find out in post.
The flip side was then, because I was always sort of a DC person, but like I read a lot of like Vertigo is maybe my favorite imprint ever. But beyond that, and anything that would kind of play with that, so I knew like Swamp Thing, and then I knew Batman, but lots of the big stuff I missed.
Okay.
And I had a friend who was a big DC fan who literally put his arm. He's like he sees I'm like a jilted lover, and he's like, I feel like I know exactly what you need. Here, have you tried the Starman run from the mid 2000s? I'm like, oh no, I didn't know it could be this good.
It can.
And he's like, what about those new gods? I'm like, what? There's a whole cool sci-fi world that's weird and spooky.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of good stuff that's being done in Vertigo mostly. But so that's Universal.
So not being the more, what I'll say, DC is like it falls apart immediately, but it's all homemade stuff.
It's all super
it's
homemade.
Local artists. It's artisanal horror. And so
it really is.
I think the best examples I can run through are actually a couple that I saw from last night, because my girlfriend Natalie Hazen is also a fan of these, mostly because I've tricked her into liking them.
Right.
She was unopinionated before, and now it's kind of our thing as a couple. As every year we go through all these guys, and we were there last night with a couple of friends running through, and the new ones they've updated a few for this year are really neat. First of all, there's one that's super fun that they've had for a few now, where they give you a laser tag style gun, and you walk in and there are zombies who have these things on their neck, and you get to shoot at them. And when you shoot them, they turn green and they can't get you, and they fall backwards.
Oh my God!
It's the most gratifying thing ever. You run through.
I would go through that.
Oh, it's so much fun.
That sounds awesome.
And they used to do it outdoors, and that was fun and had kind of a jungle gym feel. Now they've kind of done the best of both worlds, where you're actually in very tight corners, so you got to like check your back and like work as a group to kind of get through. And you're little groups of like 7 tearing through.
I did laser tag with Ron Funches and his son, and like 40 like children and their parents somewhere in the middle of Texas, and Ron Funches is really good at laser tag, as you can imagine. The guy's a video game guy, so I would constantly see on my gun, oh, Ron Funches got you. And I was like, what the fuck? And anyway, so...
I imagine you just hear his like his laugh as like a snake rattle right before you're shot up.
Anyway, I can't do it.
But one of the ones that they did last night that was really the standout of the run, because so Universal also does usually 6 mazes and a tram ride, where the tram ride, they actually dump you off of the famous Universal tram ride, and you go for about a mile hike through the back lot for stuff. It's very neat.
Yeah.
So they usually do 6 or 7 in a tram ride. Knott's usually does about 9.
Okay.
And then they'll have other stuff kind of going along. And one of the ones they did 2 years ago, they had one that was running that was like a Game of Thrones spooky thing, where you're basically getting chased by White Walkers through like an air-conditioned building.
Okay.
One of the ones they did this year was called Dark Ride, and it was that you were walking through the tracks of an old abandoned like Pinocchio, Snow White style dark ride that's been like overtaken by like mutated carnies.
Oh, like a haunted old...
parts of the ride are broken down versions of an old spooky ride.
Yeah.
And then you'll wander off the path into like, the control center rooms and the design.
Terrifying.
Oh my God. It was, and the thing I'll say that Knott's has, I think, over Universal is like the people, the term for people who are in those things that's scary is one of my favorite portmanteaus, scarictors.
Scarictor!
I just bought a Kindle single that's a guy who's like Confessions of a Scarictor, and it's him writing about his life as a scarictor, and I was like, yes, I will spend $3 on this.
Oh, yes, I will.
But
oh my God, how could I just send that guy $3?
They are on another level there. Like, it's insane. Like
the Knott's Berries.
They'll chase you from room to room. They'll like, if they don't get you, they're going to figure out how to get you. They are true artists on it. And like, they'll move past you and look for somebody in your group who's not paying attention, and then plant themselves just outside of their like view.
Yeah.
So when they turn to say something, they'll just
Yeah.
Like it was.
They really. They care more about it.
They're so
the commitment.
good.
I hope that they're making at least $15 an hour.
Natalie and I keep threatening to. There's a gang of like long running employees there in their like ghost town area.
Yeah.
Because they wear these like knee pads and boots that have metal pads on them, and they have them so that when they leap across the ground, they can spark in front of you as they go. Oh. And Natalie and I keep threatening to, when we get married, find a place that has an antechamber before you get into the place where you get married, and fill it with fog. And pay 2 or 3 of those guys to just be in there. And to get to our wedding, you have to get spooked by people and go through a scare zone.
That actually, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a hilarious. Andy and I just went to Virginia for a wedding, my nephew's wedding, and it was in this national park. It was it was right next to this cornfield, and as we walked by it, Andy said, in the middle of their service, a baseball team is going to step out of that cornfield, sing hallelujah, and then fade back into the corn. And I said, I wish we were fabulously wealthy and we could have hired that team. That would have been the greatest gift, greater even than the gift of life. Anyway, so yes. So, okay, so they have essentially 9 real haunted houses or haunted experiences, and then a tram ride, or
that's it. The other one for this one, it's all
that one is 6 in a tram ride. This is 9,
and then also almost the entire park is done up in scare people.
Right. Well, we did 4, and then I said, "You guys go on another one. I'm going to sit and regroup on this bench." And some fucking terrifying being came and sat next to me, and I was like, "I can't face it. I can't do it, man." But I wish I could, because it sounds, people who go have the best time. They love it so. So, So, so what? So there's not the Game of Thrones one, but the
spooky
there's
dark red one.
The spooky dark red one. That's a new one.
That's a new one. That was new this year.
Oh,
what was the
God.
other new
That's such
one?
a great idea.
They put in 2 brand new ones, and they reskinned everything this year. I was actually very impressed. After going a few years in a row, they definitely kind of like put a new coat of paint on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's
the other one they did was a new one called Pumpkin Eater, which
Yes.
I love the narrative of a maze. Like I feel
Okay.
like really good ones do tell a story in an immersive theatrical way as you go through. And I've definitely seen some really spectacular ones that really do have a beginning, middle, and end, and are able to, in a really cool way.
like a reason for you to go in it.
Yeah.
And when you come out of it, you feel like you've actually seen a story.
Yeah, like they had one many, many years ago called Club Blood that was like a cool nightclub that was actually full of vampires that then took you back to a lab and drained your blood and sent you out. And like you kind of follow these pieces. So there's like this, and then there, you go through a spooky cave, and then you go to this lab, and there's sexy vampire ladies, and there's mannequins inside of big blood bags getting drained away and stuff like that. And
Right.
you're just like, this is everything I want it to be. And so walking through stuff like that, you're kind of cool. This Pumpkin Eater one, Natalie and I have been talking about since last night, trying to decipher the plot of it, because it appears to be that there's like a person who's like killing people and then carving them up like jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay.
But then at one point you just go inside of a giant pumpkin, and then there's pumpkin monsters inside.
Wow.
Like, and it was gorgeous.
Trippy.
The funniest thing about it was there's always stuff like hanging down, because they really want it to be this multi-sensory thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's to move through a door so you can't see what's next, but sometimes it's just to mess with you.
Just to touch your head.
And what's great is a lot of them were designed to look like the guts of a pumpkin when you're in the pumpkin, and they had seeds on them. And like it was real fun to watch my girlfriend immediately no longer be at all concerned with monsters. And so she's like, oh, how cute is this? They have seeds. And so, like, that one
That's awesome.
And that was cool, because, like, that does the thing I like with someone where it goes indoor and outdoor, so parts of it you're inside, and then all of a sudden you can, like, see the sky.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than when you realize you see the sky, but you're still not out of the maze. Oh. Because now you're like, oh, there's hope of the outside world, but I'm still in this.
Oh,
and then
now
when you
I'm
go
still
back inside something.
in the ride. Yeah. Okay.
Which is neat. I'm trying to think.
How much is it to get into the places?
It varies from spot to spot.
Okay.
It's never cheap. It's usually kind of like the
$50 or more?
Probably like an
$100?
$80 ticket sometimes.
Okay.
It depends on. The other thing is, like, my girlfriend and I will literally take extra jobs in the summertime to save up to do our front of the line passes for it.
Oh, okay.
Which, is a wonderful place in life to be at. And
Yeah.
I think that sometimes with these things, like, it's cool to like wait in line and hang with your friends. I am there to see this stuff. This is the one time a year I'm going to get to do this. This is my Star Wars I've started describing for exciting things. And so I want to see it all. Like, there are 9 mazes at Knott's and we did 13 by the end of the night, because we redid 4 of them.
Okay, and you bought front of the line tickets as
Yes.
well? So, like, to get in might be $65 or $80.
And then they'll throw another $40-$50 on for the
front of the line
Yes.
pass?
So it's not
Okay.
cheap.
Right.
It's definitely
It's a commitment, especially if you're going to go to like 4 or 5 of them in
Yeah.
a season. So it's something you have to save up for all year.
Yeah, and I could, some years we've just done those 2 and sort of shine the other. Like, sometimes we'll add extras as we kind of go along. Those are the 2, because they're so pricey,
Yeah.
That's the thing. And any overage over that, if you had a good month or something goes, then
Right.
you can figure out something else. But those are definitely the go-tos.
Okay, so those are the 2.
Yeah.
Because I bet you, because here in Los Angeles at the very least, there's got to be a lot of
I'm very excited
Like
about this.
hayrides.
Well, there's the hayrides. There's also home haunts are a big thing here, but I've never been kind of privy into that, because it's almost its own separate scene from the theme park
right.
stuff.
You kind of have to be
And-
invited.
and that's like my big push this year. Is I joined a horror trivia team because
as a way to try to get in.
mostly because it became my poker night, because I realized like I needed something to go socialize with other vaguely adult people in a thing that is not stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
Like, I
fair
needed
enough.
a good, like, one night out of the month where I try to go do that.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes a gig comes up and I bail
Have
on
to
that and
bail.
go do the thing. But,
Sure.
but they are way into it. So they're starting to kind of hit me to some of that stuff. So,
Okay, and they're called home horror nights?
or home haunts.
Home haunts.
There's actually, I will recommend to your listeners, if they're curious about the home haunt element, there's an amazing documentary called The American Scream that follows 3 families in New England who live in one town and are running home haunts.
Okay.
And they're interesting because they're all very different people. Like one, it's a father and son, and they're both not quite all there. And they're a lot of fun. There's a guy who like had a heart attack and was going to not do it, and then like his community came around him to help him do it. And there's one guy who really wants to go pro and like do it on some professional level.
Right.
His story in it is really kind of great because he's very intense, he's very focused, but it's also fun. It's the first time I ever thought, oh, maybe I do want kids, because he has a daughter in it, and she's way into helping her dad with this weird dumb thing he loves so much,
because she wants to spend time with her dad.
And like that was the first time I was like, oh shit, yeah, I do want that. God damn it!
Yeah,
Like how can you can't just throw that at me? Like little his daughter in her jack-o'-lantern shirt helping him spray blood on a mummy and not have my heart melt and me go, okay, well now my ovaries are going. I need this to happen.
Yes. Well, it's because Andy loves decorating the house, and his favorite thing is day after Halloween to hit like all the different stores.
Oh,
and
yeah. He knows what's up.
He knows what's up. And was it 2 years ago? He came home and he was like, I got 6 Dementors. So we have Dementors that he hangs all around the house.
I just did that Harry Potter ride at Universal this last time. It was the first time I'd been on it. Have you been on that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It is terrifying.
Which the one at not Gringotts, just the Hogwarts
just
one.
The Hogwarts one, the Forbidden Journey.
The Forbidden Journey.
Oh my God, that thing's amazing!
It's great. It's a cross between an actual physical ride and the
simulator,
video. Yeah, and so the Gringotts one is amazing too.
I got to do that. Is that the same thing where they're on the arm again? Like, is it the same kind of setup for a ride?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It felt the same, but I don't think it was.
Okay.
I look back on it. But the crazy thing is we went to Orlando in January on a Tuesday. So there was no one there. So you know how like they spend so much time and money at Disneyland.
The queue line.
The queue line. We missed the whole story because we just zoomed right to the front of the ride.
It's a good problem to have.
It's an excellent problem. We went on a couple of times.
Did you go into the bathroom where Moaning Myrtle is in there making everything weird?
Yeah, Moaning Myrtle will be there, and then they have a Nocturne Alley in in Orlando. And because they don't have a Diagon Alley here.
It's just
Hogwarts and Hogsmeade. But the classic thing that happened at Hogsmeade in Orlando was an actual dirtbag drunk guy came in. So it felt just like the book. Remember how the Hogshead?
Oh yeah,
the Hogshead was kind of the skeevy.
Yeah,
the Hogshead dude came in.
I love that he's like martyring himself. Like, I want them to have a good experience, even if I get tased.
I lost my shoe. I'm drunk at 10:30 in the morning. I need 3 fire whiskeys to go. And you're like, to go? Yes, thank you, Universal. And so the decorating? What do you think of the decorating?
I enjoy the decorating. I love haunts. What's nice about the theme park haunts, and I think I fell into it. Also, huge theme park nerd.
In general.
Just in general. I think I love spectacle and like organized fun.
Right. And the production values are amazing.
Yeah. And I just love like that approach to it, and like that kind of experiential thing where you're like, oh, this is like happening to me. I'm not like, I'm a active participant to some level.
Yes. And especially at that level. And those home haunts, I bet you they're amazing here just because of how many production people live here.
There was one, I guess, that is not open this year but ran for many years, and I've not been able to get somebody to. It was called Boney Island, and from what everybody has said, it was a Simpsons writer did it.
Okay.
But no one has given me a name, and as a member of Stonecutters LA, I got a pretty good working list of who it might be.
Right.
But no one will cop to it. And I don't want to like walk up to any of these people if I see them at an event.
Gould, just tell me who it is.
Exactly. I want to just shake Jane and tell me who did Boney Island, what happened.
You're not going to be weird about it. You just want to.
I just need to know
what it was.
I need to know if Tim Long is as cool as I want him to be in my heart.
And I'm sure he is. And but I know that what it's interesting because of the theme parks, because Knott's Scary Farm, we went, it had to be 4 or 5 years ago, and Andy has not even suggested we go again.
Dude, he should roll with us.
He should go with you guys. He's got to go
next
with
year. Next year, Andy's got to go with us.
He should just go with his buddy Scott, who loves that stuff like the Power of the Sun.
It's so good. This year in particular, I think, is one of the strongest years they've had too.
Oh yeah.
So fun fact: Knott's Berry Farm is also the originator of it. They were the
the first
one
not
to start
scary
doing.
farm?
They were the first one to do like a theme park haunted thing.
Right.
There's an out of print book that I've been searching for quite a while that is the history of it.
Oh, okay.
But like I've been able to put some stuff together just through having
On
access
the
to the internet and stuff.
yeah.
But they were very early on, like the ones who started. They did started with a maze. And titled the thing and did some theming, and people really showed up in droves, and it really increased business. And like Knott's has always been the park that's second fiddle to
banana.
Disneyland.
Yeah, you're right.
And that is the one time where they dominate Disneyland. Like Disneyland doesn't play that game, and so like Knott's is the thing for those couple of months.
Right. It's the closest they come is they do like I think they do the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
I think they do
and they
something-
do the Haunted Mansion into
Skelly.
the Nightmare Before
Skellington?
Christmas
Yeah.
thing, which always bums me out because it's less scary than it is the rest of the time.
Right, and it's I don't know. I mean
I don't hate Nightmare Before Christmas, but I do feel like it's a flavorant that can go too far if you add too much.
Right. I liked it the first time I saw it, and I was like, oh, this is something I should watch every Halloween, Nightmare Before Christmas. And so I bought the DVD, and then I watched it, and I was like, it's not as great as I remember.
No,
and then
it's
the
definitely
next
not.
year, I was like, well, all right, well, let's do it again. And it's just ridiculous. I think I forced it on myself like for 3 years, and then I was like, I could even throw this DVD out. I don't even need this DVD.
It also leans way heavier Christmas than Halloween.
Yeah.
I always, if I'm going to throw it in a rotation, which is not often, but I throw it in as a Christmas rotation much more than a Halloween piece. Because it's Halloween for about the first 15 minutes of that movie, and then the rest of that movie is Christmas forever.
Christmas forever.
And you're like, why would you ruin your wonderful Halloween town with all this Christmas?
Exactly. And then I was thinking about how this kind of stuff automatically leads to other things that people are like escape rooms now are super popular. The fact that they combined laser tag with a haunted house
is genius.
I bet you there's got to be a haunted escape room.
There's a lot of them. There's one in the Valley that I have not done. I want to try called The Basement, where you are trapped in the basement of a serial killer and you have 45 minutes to figure out how to escape or you're dead.
That's hilarious and terrifying. We did one in San Francisco last weekend, and it was an escape room. And what it was there was a ghost.
Oh, cool!
It was a pirate ship with a ghost, and but we did it with Andy's friends, Ed and Emily, and their two sons.
Okay,
whose middle names are like Danger and Trouble. Literally, their middle names are Danger and Trouble, which, by the way, are asking for trouble and danger.
Yeah.
But Evan and Ethan, they're lovely boys. Anyway. So there's a very short, the shortest of all Dork Forest. It's on my YouTube page with Ethan and Evan talking about Minecraft when they were like 8 or when they were 4. So I mean, when they were super little. And anyway, but escape rooms that are scary. The basement one.
Yes.
It makes because I've only done 2 escape rooms now, and I remember thinking before I went into the first one, I don't want to be trapped in a room. And then you go to an escape room and they're like, you're not. You gave us $22. You can leave whenever you'd like. It's supposed to be fun. You do a puzzle. There's a bunch of different puzzles.
There's another cool gamified one, sort of gamified, but that they have at Knott's this year that if Andy goes, I want to get his review on because I've done a demo for this technology at. All right, I'll add a little more dorkdom to this.
Yes.
There is a series of, at the end of summer, conventions built around haunts. That's how dorky this has become.
Yeah.
There's one called Scarelay and there's one called Midsummer Scream.
Okay.
I've done both, and they both have mini haunts at them, and then they have like some of it's for industry. You can go. That's where I did a lot of my shopping around, figuring out what fog machine I wanted to buy for all of my like shooting stuff, because like there's some folks who have some opinions and beards.
Yeah.
A lot of fake blood guys.
Sure.
A lot of there's a station where you can make your own tombstone to put out on display with like a Dremel,
interesting.
like with a foam piece. There's actually it's a lot of fun stuff. One of the things they had there, one of their demos was a thing that Knott's has picked up the technology to for this. That's kind of a kit thing you do. There are these flashlights that are I believe it's an RF signal to the flashlights from a master control panel that controls when they can turn on, when they can turn off, how functional they are.
Mm-hmm.
So like the demo one I did was you walk through a room and then all of a sudden the lights go out and then the lights turn back on and there's things in the room with you.
Oh my God.
The version last night was you are going through a haunted house and you have them and they are basically there's some lighting, but basically you and your group, the lighting in the room is just coming from you and your flashlights.
Okay.
And at certain points, there'll be regular flashlights. So early on, you're looking around. Oh, it's spooky. Like, it's hard to see. And we got a flashlight. They shifted to black lights for portions of it. So what's even cooler is you're in a dark room and then you flash and your thing all of a sudden hits the photosensitive makeup on the face of the person hiding in the room with you. So all of a sudden there's a glowing face right in front of you.
Oh my God.
And then at certain points they'll start to strobe.
Yeah.
So like at one point you had to walk down this long dark hallway where all the lights would just strobe for a second and then disappear again. And they would just randomly strobe going through. Oh, it was amazing.
That I kind of have to figure out a way that Andy can go to this
cool.
year because it sounds really, really well done.
That's the kind of technology that's kind of cool to start seeing them working in, are these like interesting ways where you're interacting with it and then it can go wrong. My girlfriend and I were actually joking, like, how many theme park attractions where the plot is the attraction is broken and terrible nightmare things, like Jurassic Park, the ride does that, the Simpsons ride does that, like so many attractions are built around like rides are super safe, don't worry, like as you're on a safe ride, but they're like, but actually you're in danger. It's such a weird disassociation element to so many theme park attractions.
Yeah, they're trying to make it, but only Universal does that. Disney does not do that.
Although Star Tours was technically that. If you think about it, because Star Tours, you're supposed to just be on a smooth flight to Endor, and instead you join the Rebel Alliance.
Right, you get hijacked. And things happen. They take you to Cuba.
My brother has a bit he does on that where he's like a businessman who was actually taking this flight because he had to get to Endor to meet the Malastarians for a business meeting, and all of the fun adventure is ruining his business, and he's super upset about. And he thinks the Empire are doing a great job because he's a weird conservative businessman, so he's upset that he's being dragged in this political movement with these terrorists.
Wait, he plays that out?
He plays that as like when we're standing in line, he'll just do like, I'm so late. And like this, look at this gold robot thinks that it's fun to do these things. You know what? I'd love for you to do your job. Like just the idea of like a humorless man in the Star Wars universe is the funniest thing in the world to me.
You know that Maria and Scott, I'm a member of the Delta Sky Club. And
are we on a podcast? Did Jackie bring up that she's in the Delta Sky?
I might. Anyway, but so I got that card that lets me in, and Maria was like, is it great in there? And I was like, yeah, it's great in there. So
how is she not also
she is now.
Okay.
She is now, and Scott is now. But Scott, her husband, likes to play this game whenever anybody is on the phone in the Delta Sky Club. He likes to loudly start talking to Maria about the Travis account. And it's like, well, the Travis account is a mess. I don't know if you know this. And
I love that stuff.
It is pretty fun. So, yes. Oh my God. So what, so we have, Andy likes to decorate the house.
So does you inside or inside and outside?
Just outside.
Oh, do the
mostly.
outside.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to do a drive-by at some point and see what he does.
Well, and the kids, nobody else in our neighborhood does it, so our yard is ridiculous.
That's the only reason I want to own a home.
Yeah, and it's a wasteland. And then, Andy will put a flag up on Flag Day. He likes to decorate a house. He bought these two pink flamingos, and he's like, it'd be good at Easter, don't you think? Pink flamingos in the front yard.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you trying to out-white trash somebody? What is happening? And so with the pink flamingos. And so I am a buzzkill. But, and then Christmas, he likes to, do lights. We do the lights and stuff. But we bought that thing that projects onto the onto the house.
The snow and the stars and all that stuff.
Right, and it's got pumpkins and ghosts and stuff because you can. It's like a ViewMaster. So you just change the reel.
They got a spooky version of that where it's a little mat you put on your window, and then there's a projector behind it, and you can make it look like there's like ghosts in your window and stuff.
We have it's a negative. We hang it.
Cool.
On the front porch. It's a reaper with a with a scythe.
That's awesome.
It ripped one year, so I think he taped it and put it up anyway. And then we have a zombie that comes out of the ground.
Oh, that's rad.
So you got to come by.
Oh, I definitely will.
When I think October 1 is when he starts. And then we never give out candy. We give out toys.
Okay.
Made by children. We give those out to the children. We get it from Oriental Trading Company.
Oh, okay. That's where I thought it was going with this.
Yeah.
Like, is this a charity thing, or are we making an Asian joke?
It's an Asian babies make toys for babies.
I know the Oriental Trading Company very well.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you also?
My mom worked in PTA and worked in a bunch of school stuff, and so we would order a ton of stuff through that for like events and things like that for school
Right,
functions,
bouncy
things like that.
eyeball.
So I remember as a kid, I would. There was a few years when I was like 9 or 10 where I was just fascinated by the Oriental Trading Company catalog. Because it's such a weird, like, hey, you want to order 5 dozen Hawaiian shirt drink koozies? Because that's a thing that you now know exists, and you can order a dozen of right now.
Just order. It's the weirdest thing. You could just get stuff that doesn't make any sense.
I felt like I had such closure after going to so many Chuck E. Cheese. I'm like, oh, this is where you buy spider rings.
Right. It's it used to be on 23rd Street in New York City is where you can go buy like rhinestone bracelets and stuff. And a friend of mine has this toy store, and in the 90s or whatever, she used to have these they were really cool, like kind of rhinestoney, but they were stretchy. They were just bracelets. We've all seen them. Anyway, but at the time, they were very popular. And I went down with her to 23rd Street, and she bought like a box of them. And then she was selling them for $5 or $6 at the store.
That's a good plan.
And they were like, I don't know, 60 cents each or whatever. And I was like, hey, are these those things that you get at the... And she's like, stop talking. We are in my store right now. And
they don't need to know wholesaling exists.
Right. It turns out everybody knows what wholesale is, but the specifics of wholesale should be a mystery. But yes. So what have you ever done any sort of destination, other cities, that type of thing?
I would like to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where. There's a couple weird ones in New York I'm fascinated with that are a little more like theatrical.
Okay.
I have gone to Vegas for a few, and those were a lot of fun. I make the joke that I went to the one at the Circus and I did not know I was going to be there. And then all of a sudden I was brought there, and it's the happiest I've ever been in a place because it was spooky stuff. Plus there were goth girls selling beer. Plus they were just playing a bunch of punk music. And I was like, literally, this is everything I'm vaguely interested in all in one place.
That is hilarious.
Like, I've never been more. This is a customer who is satisfied.
I went to Quark's Cafe in Vegas.
That was another
time.
glorious one.
It was a glorious, just sitting around going, it was all that was left was, if only I was still drinking.
Yeah.
In Minneapolis, there's a strip club, and I don't know if it's still there. It was called Sheiks or something, and it was vaulted ceilings with these beautiful chandeliers. And it was a strip club, and it had 2 jumbotron that would show the basketball game, and then there were 5 various degrees of nakedy ladies on stages all over the room, and then there were cigar ladies walking around in scantily clad.
they were like, we just got it. If we can keep them, they'll never leave.
They'll never leave. It was like a Japanese businessman's haven. It was full of Japanese businessmen. I've never seen so many Japanese businessmen except in Japan, and it was weird.
That would actually be where I'd probably go. Would be the Universal Japan or Korea's. They do versions of it.
They've got scary.
Yeah, there's actually Japan is probably the one that I'll hustle to because, like, being a theme park nerd, there's some stuff I have to go hit up there because they've got their theme park game is second only to us. Like,
okay.
America, we're real good at theme parks.
Oh yeah.
If you want like straight thrill rides, like the Middle East has some solid, impressive things, but really when it comes to like theming and decor, like
right.
America and Japan are both on point.
Andy and I went to Disneyland Hong Kong.
Oh yeah. Oh, how'd you like it?
It was amazing.
I'm fascinated by it.
It was a different experience. They had a Toy Story land that had you were supposed to be the size of a toy.
Yeah.
So they had like bamboo that was like grass. So everything was taller than you.
Yeah.
And then they had those army guys, the green army guys that walked
on the little things.
On their
the
green plastic that they had to walk like that, and they had face paint and everything that couldn't have been safe.
There's a weird ride, not weird, it's neat, in Japan at one of their parks where it's their version of the Winnie the Pooh, and it was the first trackless ride ever. It was on a GPS system, and the idea was that because it wasn't on a track, you were free to like randomly flow on this kind of like organized system because it was attempt to simulate you being a leaf on the wind in 100 Acre Woods.
Oh my God.
And I was like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
That is an Imagineer hard at work.
Yeah.
That is the one going, oh my God, let's do that.
We've presented our business plan as a haiku.
Exactly. There's a guy named Steve Tatum who used to do stand-up here in Los Angeles, and he was an Imagineer for Disney.
What?
And he for I think like 5 years, 5 days a week, he had a daily show kind of thing that he did entirely from his basement, full-time job as an Imagineer at Disneyland, and then did stand-up at night.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then he stopped doing that. He stopped doing stand-up even. And 27 years working at Disneyland, at Disney, they forcibly retired him. And get this, but perfectly good, like, sort of parting gift of bells and whistles. And moments later, hired by Universal Japan to be the head of their R&D for their theme parks. And so he's been living in Japan for the last 2 years.
What an amazing life.
Yeah, his life is pretty sweet. And his wife is an actress, and she does a lot of she's done like small roles on like CSI and Law and Order, and Bones, where she plays a distraught mother or a distraught wife or a distraught daughter, as she's aged. Anyway, so but they're both great. But Steve, working in the I just like, oh my God, Universal, can you? And I think one of the first things, because I'm me, I was like, can you get a deal on those Harry Potter tickets? And he was like, weirdly enough, I cannot. It is one of the weirdest things ever. But he can get into Disneyland Forever for free, but just him.
I was shocked to finally be able to get through the Harry Potter thing, just because like all of them seem so untouchable for so long, just because they're so like they change the game for how like theme parks approach what they can do. Like, and for the longest time I was like, sure, I'll believe it when I see it. And walking through even just like the LA one, which is the smallest of all of them, I was like, oh, I get it. This is a gravitational shift in how they approach this stuff.
So and Steve said that J.K. Rowling had so much to do with it.
Yeah.
Because she's alive. Mm-hmm. And it's her IP. So she gets to. But he said she insisted that the stores and the rides be like these tiny British, like small English
shops,
shop size things. And he's like, you realize, and everybody tried to tell her, we're trying to get 100,000 people through this a day. And she's like, well, do it slowly, and make it a thing that, is done. And I think it's working out anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. I have mixed emotion with some of her thought on that, because I think she's obviously right. I think there is a little bit of a level of like, if I'm one of those 7-year-olds who couldn't get in,
yes,
like that's a real bummer. It
is a bummer, and in July it's just too crowded. I bet. So you're just like, well, I can't. But one of my favorite things ever was I was in one of the stores, and there was a dad and a little girl, and the little girl, there was a bucket of broomsticks, and she was probably 9 or 10, and she goes, Dad, look, they have broomsticks, like in the book. Do you think they're for sale?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
he doesn't even look at her. He looks dead at me in the eye and goes, yes, they're for sale.
It is crazy how much merch they move on those things. Like when you
it's amazing.
Because it's hard to tell who's staff there, because everybody buys the damn robe.
Yep.
And so you're just like, oh, I need to know where the bathroom is, and I've asked 4 teenagers and none of them work here.
Right. Andy was fascinated by the fact that a lot of the fans are women.
Yeah.
It's more women-centric than dude-centric, which is kind of cool, because there's just not a lot of, stuff that's aimed towards predominantly women consumers. And it turns out ladies got monies, because we all got jobs and stuff. All right, so what do you want? By the way, I'm talking to Kyle Clark, but an hour later. We are at 55 minutes.
Beautiful.
So Kyle Clark, it's at Kyle Clark is Rad. This is Rad is the podcast.
Yep.
Is it on Nerdist as well?
It is not. We are an independent project.
Well played. And I'm a Person is the album. Yeah. It's your comedy album.
It came out.
And this is going to come out on Tuesday.
Oh, right on. Oh, yeah. Awesome.
So you got anything to plug? You going anywhere? You doing anything?
Ooh, I think I'm accursedly landlocked at the moment.
Landlocked,
where I work over at the Talking Dead, and we are deep into the season on that. So I've been kind of getting eaten up on that, but I'm hoping to get out later this year. So if you follow me on Twitter and you live in a place and you want me to go there, shoot a message at me, and I'll put the little pin in the map to head over there.
I'll try. That's what we all do. So, your favorite, what is something that one of your favorite rides or haunted houses like that we haven't mentioned? Is there? We pretty much went pretty deep here.
There's one that I would throw out that of note, just because I've given so much love to Knott's, because it is literally going to Knott's is my favorite night of the year every year. Like that keeps me holding out through the rest of the year. Is like this one night is for me. The flip side at Universal, which I do love, still a lot of love for, 2 years ago did a maze for the movie Halloween that followed the plot of Halloween through, and it's maybe the most well-constructed maze I've ever seen. It was a true masterpiece. It was terrifying. It was beautiful. It had Easter eggs to the third Halloween movie doesn't have anything to do with the Michael Myers movies. It's about masks that murder kids because an evil company is part of an Irish conglomerate that's going to take over the world via witchcraft.
Oh, okay. Sure. Why wouldn't it be?
2 kids jump out and scare you in those masks, and I literally yelled, "Hey, those are the masks from Halloween 3 Seasons of the Witch! What a great Easter egg!" in terror, and they just shook their heads and walked away.
Oh, you just ruined it, man. You just ruined it.
But
All
that maze and this is a whole world I found is on YouTube. There's a real popular thing now has become like video walkthroughs of mazes, so you can kind of see because it's cool because it kind of preserves a thing that otherwise there's so many mazes that
It's
get
just 1
lost
year.
because they were there for a year and then they go away. And it's not like a play where you can buy the cast recording. There's nothing of it once it's gone, which is beautiful. But it's neat that they've captured some of these things, and you can see some of the amazing work that all these people worked on to go into it. And that one is definitely one that's been captured. So that is.
And you don't think of it as a spoiler?
Nah, because
because it's usually when it's over.
Well, and sometimes they put them out before, but also it's such an organic thing. It's not a thing that you walk in and all of the things happen the same time every time. Every time you walk through, it's a different experience. That's why I like doing them twice, when I can.
Oh, right.
Because you're going to get a totally different experience. Sometimes you'll have a bad one and you're like, oh, that maze wasn't good. And then you do it a second time. Oh, I had a bad run through and all of a sudden everything timed out different and now it's amazing.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's about as good an ending I think as I can get.
I think, it's here's the thing. Whenever, because the whole month of October is often just one Halloween episode after another.
It's the best,
and so Halloween is never anything I've ever been interested in. I don't like candy. I don't like
these kids running around.
I'm willing to wear a hat, but it's not. But costumes are not my downfall. Though I like them more today. Did you see?
Natalie and I are going to be Rocky and Bullwinkle this year, and I was excited. I'm like, all right, that's pretty low key.
I have to show Loki. I want to be Loki. Andy and I dressed up as Vikings. You know, did you? Because you can dress up. You go to a portrait studio. They'll give you rifles and hats and a Sam Brown belt, and you can look like cowboys, right?
They'll give you Viking stuff too?
Yeah. Andy was wearing 40 pounds worth of chainmail. And
what is this amazing company?
It was called the Mink Portrait, and it was real fur.
That's awesome.
Real swords, real everything, and a real St. Bernard sitting there. But it was in Iceland. And but we're going to use them for our Christmas cards, maybe.
That's amazing.
If we can figure it out. But Andy's picture, I posted just a snapshot of him, and he said, I look like they came into the village, and they were like, no, we're going to need everyone, including the accountants.
It's the Helm's Deep battle. You're like, oh, even Andy.
Even Andy.
It's even the good name for the Viking that was also there. Good. Vlad, Thorb, Glawe, and Andy.
Andy, put down your quill. Pick up that sword with both hands. And
you are now a calligrapher of blood, friend.
Anyway, you guys, this has been the Dork Forest with Kyle Clark, and it was a great one.
Yeah, thank you for having
holy smokes,
me.
It was an awesome rabbit hole. It was well played. And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat, my hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?